Hi. Hello. Oh, there. Yeah, no, I'm not going to use that because it's just pictures of my kids, so. Hi, ladies. I'm slightly nervous, and I have everything. Thank you. That helped. I have everything written down because I am a mom of very little kids and lots of them, so I tend to forget where I came from. I'm not used to actually being able to talk in full sentences because I always get disturbed underway. So my name is Julie, as you see here. I'm a founder of Copenhagen Photo Festival. That's a 10-day festival with photo that we celebrate in Copenhagen, 10 days over the summer. I'm also a photo agent and a producer. I cater to the lifestyle and fashion industries that we just heard a lot about. I'm unfortunately one of those who have put a lot of very skinny ladies in very beautiful clothes and put them up against a white wall and called it fashion. I'm sorry for that. But it's clients. I think it was super interesting. I don't see you, but I really support what you're doing, and we do try on our side of the camera to try to break up with some of these unfortunate role models that the fashion industry sometimes puts out. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. There are also some other unfortunate role models that we as women and mothers are being put in. I am a mother of 3 kids. I have Vega, who's 3, and twin boys, Elias and Levi, who are both just turned 2. Yes. And for me, trying to find myself, come back to this person I was before, very confident and very, busy woman in the fashion industry, and suddenly having these 3 little kids that would steal my sleep and ruin my clothes and put like white milk spots all over and ruin my hair, and I couldn't like shower for 2 weeks on end, and it was like, how do you recover from that? How do you ever go into a meeting and not oh fuck, I have spit on myself, and hair, and I put it up in a bun, and so I don't have that. My journey is still very much ongoing, but I wanted to kind of just introduce you to the story from the very beginning, and hopefully some of you can bring some of that with you moving forward. So I come from Denmark. It's a little kingdom just north of Germany. Some in the media caught up on that and called it, I think, one of the happiest places on earth. We Danes still question that sometimes. But I do see from the outside how certain values there are quite remarkable. For instance, parents are given a year maternity leave, paternity leave. It's a parent thing that you can do together. It's paid, so you're actually given off work for a full year. That is pretty amazing. But it wasn't that amazing for me though, because again, I was running a photo festival and I was a manager of my own company, and I did not want to take a year off from work because that would set me back 3 years. Everything I had fought for, everything I had come so far with, would kind of just be put to an end. The community did not support my opinion on that, because then that would make me a bad mom. Especially other women were frowning upon my choices of being a career woman as well. Now, when Vega was born, our firstborn, I took the first call, I think, 2 hours after she was born. I was still in my hospital bed. But I did not know that it wasn't just someone congratulating me. They were just checking up on some things. So I when I was pregnant with Vega, I also knew that I would not do things as society would believe me to do. I knew I would do things my own way. I packed up Vega when she was 3 weeks old, took her to my first meeting. I breastfed under meetings, even though the guy over there looked weird and green in his face. And I didn't really care because this was my way of doing things. I traveled the world with Vega. I took Vega with me on a 10-day production in Cape Town, brought my mom as well, and I figured things out. I breastfed her until she was 6 months, I guess, and I accepted that I couldn't do all these things without getting help from outside. So I found an amazing nanny who could support me and travel with me when needed, and not least, I had a very supportive husband as well, who took his 3 months of paternity leave, so I could get back to work quicker. Now, on one of our many adventures, we ended up in Berlin. So after one of these many exciting jobs abroad, just after I turned 40, we packed up our things and we moved to Berlin. Little did we know that our roller coaster ride of an adventure only just had started. A few months later, we found out that we were expecting very unexpected twins. Because you know how they say that as a woman, you have to get your kids as young as possible because you might miss your opportunity. Well, that wasn't the case for me. They forgot to tell you that your chances or risks increase for having twins when the older you get. So apparently I don't know how this medical thing happens, but apparently just the risk is higher. I fell into that group. So 41, I welcomed twin boys to the world. And now I had, with the entire Vega thing, I had kind of accepted that I could probably not go on the same pace that I had so far. I need to add that I had to fortunately pass on the photo festival to other hands because it was time for me to not have a 60-hour work week and try to also be a little bit at home and be present when I was home. So I passed on the photo festival to the next generation of amazing people who has led it to where it is today. And it was a good time for me to, accept that there are a few things that you have to say no to when you say yes to something else. And we also moved to Berlin, so that was kind of a part of it. But then with the boys, I knew that I had to plan my life a little bit differently. I accepted that I, at the office in Copenhagen, would have to have some help. And I hired amazing people to sit at the office and make sure that I didn't have to go back and forth, because as a woman or as a person, you can't travel with more than 2 kids under 2 years. So it was virtually impossible at that point. I had 3 children under 2 years, so I could not go anywhere. I would be locked to here. So I had to hire management in Copenhagen for the office there, which was fine. And I had just planned on opening offices here in Berlin to expand and to adapt to our new situation. So after the 3-month cap that I had kind of given myself to be a mom and do the whole breastfeeding and babies and shitting and burping and the whole thing, it was like a 36-hour-a-day routine that we just kind of had to get down and get over with as soon as possible to move forward. But after these 3 months, I found myself just walking around in a sort of haze and just couldn't find myself. My old confident, the coat that I kind of wore, where I could go to meetings, where I was well prepared, where I wasn't shaking like a leaf as I am today. It was lost, and it was lost forever. I looked back and I retraced so many times, and I could just never find back, because I wasn't meant to, because I was a mom now. And I think I was never prepared to actually find out how much of an impact that would do to you. Probably maybe also because I had so many children in so little time, so close to each other. So I never really came up to the surface to breathe. But I've heard several of the other very inspirational women here today also talk about how coaching and their finding that little space every day for yourself. And for me, that was very important. I had an amazing coach to help me get back on track. And all women at that point also just told me, oh, come on, you're only 3 months into this. Like, your babies are still so small. You don't have to do this yet. And I really needed to do that for myself, to regain sanity, to find myself, to do something for myself. So you can't just always say, well, or look into like a calendar and say, well, now it's 3 months into it or 5 months into it. You have to do what you feel is right for you, because I was afraid that I would lose myself and probably not become, be the mother that I wanted to be the wife that my husband married, be the daughter I wanted to be to my parents, be the sister, and so on. And you have so many things that you want to do for everyone else, and I needed to do something for myself too. And that was getting back on track with my career. Now, you see, getting back on track, I already lost track of everything I put in here, but I'll try to get back on that track. I've mentioned it a few times, but I also really do want to underline how hard for me it was not to get the support from other women. It's crazy how women can be so hard on each other. Like, I mean, we should support each other in these situations. And also another thing I found out was that being vulnerable was not that bad of a thing, but also another thing was that if I wanted equality, like if I wanted to be back on the market this quickly, I also had to give back equality. So I had to invite my husband into our home and our children and have him be a very efficient and very active part of raising our kids and being a home, taking care of our home together with me. And even though our society in Denmark, that they support that, it's very important also that we support it in our own homes. Because I see so many of my friends or coworkers or so on that just, they have a very hard time letting go and giving that responsibility of the babies into the men's hands. They can do it. It's just as natural for them as it is for us. But it's extremely important that we invite them to give us the equality that we so want on all levels. What I also found was that it was very, very important to me to separate the words work and mom. So this entire working mom thing, after all, it's not called working dad. So it's it's keeping yourself in the role of wanting to do all these things at once. So for me, dressing, leaving the door, putting on the hat of manager or CEO or owner of a business or whatever you might call yourselves when you leave the door, that's one thing. But when I come home, I'm mom with capital M. I shut off my phone, I don't open the computer. From 5:30 to 8 p.m., I'm all on, very present with my kids. I would not have that in any other way. But after 8, we meet at the dinner table, my husband and I, and bring out our computers and we do our things and we work a little bit. We talk about the day that has passed by, and once in a while we make place for a nice date night as well. And it's very important to take that time off also to yourself. thrive actually in trying every second week to put on my auto response on my email and just take an afternoon off and do either nothing or get my nails done or just do something that isn't for anyone else than just myself. I find myself becoming a better mom. I find myself becoming a much better wife. I find myself having more time off to be that better person, and also sometimes finding the support system to support other women in the same situation where they need me to watch their kids so they can do that. It's been said before with so many other words too, but pay it forward, be that woman in the community that you want to be, and give that same support that you wish other people would give to you.